Welcome back, my friends. In a previous video, we just styled our application. So we learned that if you want to write some CSS code, then you have to write it inside these style tags here. And in this video, we are going to cover a new functionality. So what we have to do in this video, or what we want to do in this video, is we want to connect this input field here and this button here to have ability to add new task. And let's first focus on this field here. So it would be really nice that once the user starts typing here, that we save that value somehow in some variable, you know. So the first thing what we want to do is let's define the variable where we want to save that text that the user is going to input. So let's name that variable like new task name, and for the start it's going to be an empty string. So if we go back now and take a look here, here is our input field, and it's obviously text input field. And somehow it would be nice that we somehow connect this variable that we just defined here with this input field here. And there is a directive that's exactly doing that. And this is where we are going to learn that directive. So directive name is v-model. So what this directive is doing is, once you define a v-model directive on some element, in this case it's just the text field, but you can define it on a radio box or checkbox or text area or whatever element. And here you just say with where this text is going to be saved. So in our case, the name of our variable is a new task name. So I will just put here the name of the variable, and now when I go back on the page and when I start typing here, I don't know, hello, then this value hello is automatically saved inside my variable. So in this new task name variable. If you don't believe me, we can actually test that. So I will just add here a simple paragraph tag, and here I will print new task name variable. So remember, here we are using the text interpolation to print our variable. So if I go back now to the page, as you can see here, there is nothing there, but as soon as I start typing here, I don't know, new task, then you can see the value that we defined here is automatically written inside our variable. What's extremely important here to understand is this process is bidirectional. So when you start typing here something in this input field, then that value is automatically saved inside this variable. But as soon as you change this variable, that is going to be reflected inside this input field. So for example, let's define initial value for our new task name. It's going to be initial value. If I save this, if I go back to the page, if I refresh this page, as you can see, that value is automatically it's displayed inside this text field. So that means this is working bidirectional, right? So now that we have learned how we can connect a variable with an input field, then we can actually continue doing that for other input fields that we or elements that we have on our form or on in our application. So here, okay, let's go back here and let's remove this initial value and set it to empty string. We can save this once, right? Refresh, it's okay here. And here I want to remove this paragraph, because now we have learned that by using a v-model directive, we can just give here a name of the variable where this text is going to be saved, and that's happening then automatically for us. But there are some additional input elements here, or input fields here. Here is the one that we want to synchronize. So here inside the finished tasks, we have a one finished task here, but I expect here that this checkbox is somehow checked, you know. And if I find that checkbox here inside the code, here is that checkbox, you see there is no v-model directive here. So the question is which variable we should inject here inside this v-model directive. Okay, so that's the question. So if you go go inside the finished tasks, you see that this is an array of objects, and this object is a finished task. And inside the finished task, there is an attribute called isFinished. So this is a variable, and this could be the variable that we could inject here in order to synchronize, right? So inside, so here we are printing all our finished tasks, and every finished task is represented by this finished task variable here. So if I write here a finished task, this is representing this complete object, and I want just a single attribute from that object, and it is finished. It's the same logic here when I'm printing the name of the task. Here I just want to get this attribute, so I will just write finished task dot is finished. So once when I save that, if I go back to the page, that is working. So in this video, we learned some new stuff. So let's go back and repeat what we have learned. First of all, we connected the input text field with the variable called new task name, which we defined here inside our data. Then inside the finished tasks, there was an input field with the type or checkbox field, and there we also said, okay, we should connect this checkbox with the value is finished that's defined inside the task. So now that we have learned that, what's missing here is once when I start typing some text here, and I expect here when I click add task that the task is automatically added inside the pending task. But let's take a short break and cover that in the next video.